sort of also would go into the school, and a school might tell us, this kid has an outburst 5 times a week, which is obviously a problem, but we would turn that goal into, let's reduce that to 3 times a week, to 2 times a week. And so even though many people were still looking at that kid as a failure, we were able to really identify progress that was being made. Because going down from 5 to 3 to 2 is on the trajectory of eventually being able to stay in the community and succeed in the community. And so that was a big part of my education and my upbringing when I was working with kids. And I did that counseling work for 8 years. Around 2008, I decided to test those skills and travel abroad, first in South Korea, then in Vietnam. And when I was there, in a culture that is almost completely different than mine in both countries, I had to really check myself and recognize my skills and need to adapt. Where I learned the true power of being kind and being humble and learning. And I learned the excitement that I felt as a 27 or 28-year-old learning again for the first time. Those also really shaped my educational philosophy. And so I spent the better part of the next 4 years attempting to learn how to teach language, to structure my instruction around students that could not understand some of the skills that I had developed back in my time in the US, which were my language skills and my communication skills. I had to be so clear and so direct with them in order for them to understand the purpose and the goal of that class. Near the end of my time in Vietnam, there was an overwhelming urge on my part to continue this journey abroad and to discover more cultures, and it led me to seek employment in East Africa, specifically in Tanzania. And when I applied to the school in Tanzania, initially I applied for any position. At that point I had a degree in early childhood education, but I had a ton of experience with middle and high school students, so I felt, please give me a job, please give me an opportunity to support the school and the mission and work with kids of any age. And during the process of that interview, because of some of my background in leadership and my counseling work, I was offered the role of a director of a brand new satellite campus for that international school in Tanzania. And I said yes. I said I could do it, and truthfully, I had no idea how to do it. I immediately called one of my old classmates from university and asked her, what do I do? What does a good school director do? What does a good principal do? And her response has always stuck with me, but it was, you do all the things that the teachers don't want to do. So I showed up to Tanzania. I had been told when I got there that the school would be built, the school would be ready, I'd get a lot of support. But when I got there, and I see this as a blessing now, but when I got there, the school was not finished. The grass was not planted, the walls were not painted, the tables and chairs had not been delivered, the windows had not been installed, and I had 2 weeks to get ready for the first day. Not only that, but the headmaster that had hired me was also a brand new headmaster over at the main campus, which was a significantly larger operation, and he had his hands full with revitalizing a school culture over there, leaving me in many ways to try to figure it out, or have to figure it out myself. And so we did. And I leaned on some of the structures that I had developed in teaching languages, and I focused on each kid. I focused on providing unity or building unity among the school staff so that we all had these shared goals. And frankly, I didn't know what I was doing, but